Hello, I'm here to break down Lewis versus Olenik prelims. I'm going to do the main card in a separate video. First fight we have is Owen Rivera versus Ali Al-Khaezi. Ali Al-Khaezi is 8-3. He's the first ever Jordanian fighter to fight in the UFC, so he's got big pressure as he's got a whole nation watching him and wanting him to do well. And he has a chance to put Jordan MMA on the map. Where there's already a couple of good fighters. There's a champion from Brave who in the welterweight division who I thought was going to be the first one in the UFC, but it's gone to Ali Al-Khaezi. He's got good wrestling. He's got some nice armbar wins. He's got two really good guillotine wins at Phoenix Championship a couple of years back. The only issue with him, he started his career 0-2, which bothers me a bit, because that's just kind of worrying at this time for him to when he comes to fight real guys in the UFC. But he's on a 5-fight win streak. He has a win over Jamie Paktu, who's a good fighter from the Philippines. He's a well-known name in Brave, so him winning that impresses me quite a lot, and I think he's got potential to be good. I just worry a bit about his stand-up. His stand-up's a bit wild. He's very accessible to hit on the chin. He does leave it up a bit, and he's just quite sloppy. But once he gets the takedowns, and he's quite decent. And I think he'll be able to win this fight against Rivera, just because I think his wrestling will be too much. But let's talk about Owen Rivera for a bit. He's 9-5, which is not one of the best of records to have, especially in the UFC. However, he took his UFC debut against Giga Chikadze at 145, which is never easy to do. Giga is a very good high-level kickboxer. He's fought for Glory, which is the best kickboxing promotion you can fight for. Had some success over there, and I think he'll have success in the UFC. He's 10-2. Rivera pushed the fight hard in that fight. He didn't let Giga off at all. He was constantly walking him down and making it hard for Giga to find his rhythm in that fight. Owen Rivera is a very tough guy. He doesn't, like I said, always pressurises his fighter, never takes a step off. He's got that typical Mexican style. He's not the tallest of bantamweights in the world, but neither is Ali Al-Khaezi. I just don't think he'll be able to deal with his wrestling. I think if he can stuff the takedowns and he can keep it standing, I think he will win, because I don't think Ali Al-Khaezi is good enough on the feet. But I just don't trust his record enough, I don't trust him enough, because I just don't think he's consistent enough. And I think Ali Al-Khaezi will go ahead and win by unanimous decision. Next we have is Yusuf Zalal versus Peter Barrett. Yusuf Zalal is a very, very good prospect in the UFC. He's 9-2. He's coming off a win over Austin Lingo and Jordan Griffin. Austin Lingo was a good fighter from LFA. He gave Zalal a tough fight. It was a fun fight to watch. Zalal won quite clearly, unanimous decision. Looked really good in that fight, and he looked even more impressive against Jordan Griffin, who was 16-7 at the time, very good veteran, has good wins himself in the division. Very tough. He's got good wrestling, so a lot of people are like, this will be very tough for Zalal, whether Zalal can cope with Griffin's wrestling, and he did. He did it quite well, and he's shown he's not just a kickboxer, he's not just a striker. He can handle himself really well on the ground, and he's improving in every fight, like I said. And he's from Morocco. Again, it's like Ali Al-Khaezi. Not a lot of fighters are from there, that region. So he's got a lot of pressure on him. He's got a lot of eyes watching him. He's only 23 as well, but it's not fazed him at all. He's looked really good, and I think it'd be way too much for Peter Barrett on it, really. Peter Barrett is a lightweight originally, coming down to 145. He's not fought since last summer during the Dana White Contender Series. He was meant to fight in UFC Boston, but for whatever reason that didn't happen. I thought that was the main reason why they signed him in the first place, because it wasn't even the best of performances, to be honest, and he got the job done against a tough Korean fighter. It was a fun fight to watch, but he's 33 now as well, so I feel like it's more like they don't have that many people there at this current time to fight. I know he was already signed, but I just feel like it's come too late for him. They've got him too late. He has losses to TJ Brown, and he's a good fighter himself. I just don't think Peter Barrett will be able to handle the speed, the wrestling, and just the pure striking ability of Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal by unanimous decision. Because he's not really shown that he can finish anybody in the UFC yet. So I think he will dominate Peter Barrett though. Next we have Justin James versus Gavin Tucker. Justin James looked really good in his debut against Frank Camacho, and he beat him in like 41 seconds. I need to watch more of him because I didn't really know who he was before he went into the UFC. I know he's on a good streak at the moment. I know he's tough. I know he's got power. Judging from that last fight with Frank Camacho, but the thing is with Frank Camacho's took a lot of damage in recent fights. He was in a great fight with Jeff Neal back a couple of years ago, which was a fantastic fight between them, but took a lot of damage. He got stopped, I think in the third round, and then he got destroyed by Benar Dariush, whose else is on this card, in seconds. So he's had a hard time recently, and Justin James came in really short notice, and took advantage of it and just swarmed Frank Camacho within seconds, and showing he's got power at lightweight and he's a very good guy to watch. He is coming down to featherweight. He's a big guy. He'll obviously be the bigger guy than Gavin Tucker. I think that will help him, obviously, because I think he can obviously make that weight quite easily, because or else he wouldn't have took it at featherweight. They could have done it at a catch weight at 150 or something like that, which they have done during this time anyway. So I don't think he'll be at too much of a disadvantage. Gavin Tucker, he's 11-1. He's 34 years of age. He was meant to fight Billy Gontillo in May, so I don't think this fight is really that short notice. I think he would have been in camp, unless he had an injury I'm not too sure about. He's a good fighter. I just worry about his age, especially in the featherweight division, because it's more of a younger division. It's not like you can be in the middleweight, light heavyweight division and heavyweight division where you can be 34 and still have a few more years in you. I just feel like he will struggle against any younger guys in the division, and I feel like he's going to struggle against Justin James. I think, especially if Justin James swarms him like he did to Frank Camacho. And he's had a lot of time off recently as well, so he doesn't fight regularly, or he hasn't done in the last couple of years. So I think Justin James will get it done either end of round 1 or round 2 TKO. Next we have Andrew Sanchez versus Wellington Turman. I think Wellington Turman wins. I think he looked really good against Marcus Perez. I need to watch more on him. I think he's got a lot of potential. Marcus Perez is a very tough guy. He was meant to fight on Saturday, but unfortunately he couldn't. He's a very good character. Very crazy guy. But I just think Turman is special. I really do. He's only 24. He's had 19 fights, which is impressive. You don't see many people who are 24 have 19 fights already. He's 16-3. He's got youth on his side against Andrew Sanchez. he has a lot of upside working for him, and I think he'll be too much for Sanchez, and he'll win by late TKO third round. Andrew Sanchez is 11-5. He's fought very good opposition. He's fought Marvin Vettori. He's fought Anthony Smith, who's a former title contender who's lost his way a bit now in the light heavyweight division. He's 32. He's got some good wins. He's won over Marcus Perez as well. Like we said, he's a tough guy, very hard to beat, and Sanchez did it. I just don't think Sanchez is on Turman's level. I think Tim will be too more explosive than him, more quicker than him, and I just don't think Sanchez will be able to handle it. Like I said, I think he will be stopped round 3. Next we have Nasrat Haqparast versus Alex Munoz. Alex Munoz is 6-0. He's got a win over Troy Lamson, who's 13-2. That's the only really good guy he's fought. It's very hard to make a prediction on him because I don't really know much about him other than he's got a win over Troy Lamson. He was meant to fight Luis Pena in February, so he's been training. He's kept in shape because he knows that UFC are going to call him soon. But he is fighting a very tough guy, Nasrat, and he's also got a win over Nick Newell. He's a good fighter. He fights with a disability, but he's a very tricky guy to beat. He's a very talented guy, and he was 14-1 at the time. So Troy Lamson and Nick Newell are good wins for him, but he's just not been in the same opposition as Nasrat has been in. Nasrat's beaten guys like Mark Diakese, who's a very talented dude in this weight division. Even though he's had a tough time recently, he's lost to Drew Dober recently, but Drew Dober is Finn's top 15 guy. And he has a win over Joaquim Silva, who's a very tough Brazilian guy who's 11-1. I think Nasrat will win. I think he'll stop him mid-round 2. I just think he has too much for Alex Munoz. Alex Munoz, like I said, he's fought decent opposition guys. I just think he's not fought this year yet, and I think Nasrat, the thing I can see him losing is that he's not fully recovered from the Trudeau loss, because he was on a good 3-fight win streak before then, and he lost his debut against Marcin Held, who's a good fighter himself. I just don't see Munoz winning. I really don't, because I just don't think he's fought the level Nasrat has, and that means a lot in the UFC. We've seen a lot where a lot of prospects have not fought the best guys against veterans or guys who've just fought that better opposition, and it really does help. And Nasrat is Finn's top 30 level guy, top 25 guy, and he's only 24, and that's what people, I think, are forgetting. Like people saying his hype train is derailed. I don't think it is. I really don't. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he can get back on track against Alex Munoz. And then in the main event of the prelims, we have Tim Means versus Laureano Stapoli. I like Stapoli. I think he's really good. I think he had a good showing against Muslim Salikov, which has ended up being quite a decent loss. It's not a terrible loss on his record at all. He has a good win over Hector Aldana and Thiago Alves. Thiago Alves is obviously not the fighter he once was, and Hector Aldana is not the best of fighters in the UFC. He might not even be UFC level at all. He just got signed because of his record. He had a decent record, but not much experience. He's only 27 years old. He's from Argentina. Before his loss to Muslim Salikov, he was on a huge win streak, and I think he will beat Tim Means. I don't think Tim Means is the fighter he was, and I think he's lost like 5 out of his last 6 fights. He's coming off a loss to Daniel Rodriguez, and Daniel Rodriguez came in really short notice in that fight. Guillotine choked him in the second round. And he's lost to Nico Price last year as well. Like, he's got win over Thiago Alves as well, but again, it's not the same Thiago Alves. He's lost to Sergio Moraes, who's no longer in the UFC. He's lost to Bilal Muhammad, who's a very good fighter, top 20 guy. Difficult guy to beat. Yeah, I think you have to be top level to beat Bilal Muhammad, and I don't think Tim Means is that. And he's lost to Alex Oliver in 2017 as well. So, again, who's also a very good opposition. So it just seems like these fringe top 25 guys are the people that beat Tim Means, like looking at Nico Price, Bilal Muhammad, Alex Oliveira. The latter probably top 20 guys. Nico Price, top 25 guy. Daniel Rodriguez is a very good prospect. He's 2-0 in the UFC. He's got a fight coming up. He's top 30 guy, I think. So he's lost to good fighters. I just feel like he should be beating Daniel Rodriguez, especially on short notice. And Staropoli, he's a very good striker. He's very crisp, but a lot of these Argentinian fighters are. Like, you look at Santiago Ponzinibbio as well. They're very dangerous guys as well. And I just think he'll be too much for Tim Means. Tim Means is declining, I think. And I think he'll stop him late third round. I see quite a lot of stoppages on this card. And that's my wrap up of the UFC Lewis versus Olenik prelims. I'm going to do a main card video tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching.